Hi, I'm just having a look at Peninsula pen for some people who asked for it. Seb, he's been asking me for a little while to do this, and I've been a bit naughty and haven't got there. This is basically a weekly chart, and what I want to show you this for is we're just using the data from around 203, this low here, and what I've done is I've drawn a Andrews pitchfork from highs to lows, okay, and that gives us a medium line along here, okay. There's your outer tines along there. I've also put in a set of quadrant lines because quadrants measure things in quarters, okay, and drawn a fib set from this high here back to this low here, okay. And that sort of is about the right amount of data I'd be expecting. You can go further back in the stock, and there's some higher highs and things like that, but I don't really think it's relevant. Yeah, so I just thought I'd show you that on the weekly. I've also drawn a smaller Andrews pitchfork in here, okay, from the highs, lows, back to a low. And as you can see, it's pretty much made itself redundant. Okay, so we'll probably get rid of that just not to confuse the chart sort of thing. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come back in a minute with the daily chart, and we'll have a look at that. Just back here with the daily chart, and that's just showing that 203 again. Okay, and our Andrews, okay, and our other Andrews here. And if anything, what it's doing is it's just acted as a little bit of support, okay. What we've got is here, we've got a range here that it's done in the past, and if you have a look, you'll see that it's just repeated this range again, okay, so, and it's done it perfectly too, so it's, you know, basically repeated that range, and then it's come off from there, and that's basically what one would suspect. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to zoom in here. Now, what I've also done is, as I was saying, that this blue pitchfork is basically acting as support. That's a support line along there at the moment. But yeah, I probably wouldn't be trusting it to the max, but I'd be more looking at this medium line along here. Longer term would probably be the more the medium line that it tend to gravitate back to, because they always do tend to gravitate back to medium lines. This red line here was a line I drew in that was a breakout point, and that was basically a buy point in here, and it coincided with this golden cross in here, which has been well and truly underway, and it's pretty much completed as well. Okay, so the only other thing I can show you here is this is a fib set taken from the low, takeoff low, to the most recent high. And as you can see, the 23.6 here is hasn't quite come back and touched it. It was very close. Okay, so that was sort of just showing that it was quite a bullish stock if it only came back to the 23.6. Okay, so yeah, basically just going to zoom in a little bit and have a look at it a little bit more closely. And we've had these little top, pretty much perfect candle top in here. Now our standard error is trying to return. Okay, there's our 14 period moving average in red, okay, which it basically came down and just went through today, so that, and the day before, but it seemed to be acting as support. Now our 7 is jumped back up again, and we've come across this, we've got this candle top here at the moment. It's an area here at 11 cents that it just seems to stop at it. Okay, so it'd really need to open up in the morning and get a chug along and go up through that. The Bollinger Band is pointing up and it has room to go. Okay, the next area it really needs to get through is that 11.5 cents. Okay, is it really needs to get through that and then go to another level. What we're going to do is just quickly have a look at some indicators here on the daily chart. And what we've had here is the MACD is trying to turn up to go into a buy mode. Okay, we've had in the past the DEMA on the daily chart going up into the 80s. So let's just put a line along there. Okay, and it's hit it twice, and sort of once it basically hits that, it doesn't seem to like going much further. Okay, so 80 on the DEMA on the daily seems to be about the one. The other thing I notice here, which is quite intriguing as well, you've had a really good little, here today, a really good little divergence off the DEMA. Pretty much perfect. I'll just turn that into a white one so we all know what's going on. And make it a little bit thicker so you can see it on the video. And that little divergence along there, you can just basically say anytime the stock hits up here into the 80s, it'll come back and bounce off this here again. This here too, the blue and the red, they're short entry triggers, and they've been triggered today. So it's a short entry for a long. Okay, and then the DEMA's turned up as well. So it really does need to open up a little bit higher in the morning, or at least open at today's high and then go up from there. It's had a nice little increase in volume again here today. Okay, what the SCOF is going to do, I'm not quite sure at the moment, but both it and the MACD look like they want to turn up and for it to go for another little run. I'm just going to go back to the weekly chart because I'll have a look at its indicators there and see what it's doing there and just see how far this really wants to run, because I've just sort of basically had a look at it, and I'd be thinking that if we were to do a wave count on this, this would either be a 1, 2, and we'd be up for 3, 4, 5, and then we could be down for an ABC, or it's a 1, 2, this is a 3, that's a 4, and then it goes through for a 5, and if it goes through a 5, and then it'll come back and do an ABC. Yeah, so I'd be thinking that it's getting pretty toppy, is what I'd be looking at, but we're just going to have a quick look again at the weekly chart. Just bring that up. Weekly chart, and just come back in here. Remembering too, it's not the end of the week. Also, the other thing is this old top over here, okay, fairly similar sort of area, but as you can see, it's got a lot more gusto this time going up through this top, trying to get up through that top, okay, but that would have worried me a little bit about being a double top up there. And before anybody asks, is that a cup and handle? It is not one. Don't bother asking. So, okay, what we've also got here is we've got a golden cross happening on the weekly chart. And I did say this about this stock quite a while back, and I have traded the stock. And that's what I really liked about it, because it was sort of like UNX that had a daily golden cross with a weekly golden cross coming up. Okay, and this one has still got a little bit more to go on the weekly, so you're tending to think that it's going to push up a little bit more. It's back inside the bollies. It was sort of defying gravity up there. Okay, let's just come in a little bit closer. Nice big bullish engulfing candle, but don't forget it's not the end of the week yet. Okay, this is a weekly chart and it has not closed at the end of the week, so it'll all depend on where it closes at the end of the week, and ideally what you would want is it through the 11.5. I'd be thinking if it doesn't make it through the 11.5 and closes around somewhere around about 10.5, you'd have a candle top in here. That's what would concern me. Okay, so I'd just be thinking along those lines a little bit. Where it'll come back to, well, this is the same sort of fib levels, and you can see it wasn't very far off our 23.6, you know, it was a millisecond, half a point or something like that, you know, it's all good, clutching at straws and stuff, but I still think this medium line, it'll probably come back and run off of this, because Just have a look at the weekly indicators, and yeah, as I thought, yeah, we're getting really high here now. 90 on a DEMA on a weekly for anybody is high, and I don't care who you are. You can be Platinum, you can be XT, you can be anybody, but yeah, that is getting high. Okay, so it needs to come off or go sideways. We have another increase in volume, okay, as well. So it tells me it wants to keep going. It's just flatlining along here on the SCOF. MACD is still heading up, okay, but when I see a DEMA up around about 90, I haven't seen too many on a weekly run up that high. So I'd be thinking it needs some sideways to come off a little, okay? Is what I tend to be looking at here. And you can probably see that wave count there, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is going for 5 now, and then she comes off. So it could be a 5 count, not a 3 and a 4 is what I'd be looking at. But yeah, that's about me from it. But it's had a great run, and to me, I'd just be interested to see where it finished up at the end of the week. But I think it just needs to consolidate and come off, and that'll just make it better for when it goes for the next run. Okay, thank you. That's me.